So now that we have an article, we might want to improve it. Maybe, for example, we found some areas that should be improved on our own. For example, we could say that these explanations here aren't too helpful. But of course, we could also ask ChatGPT to identify improvement areas. And therefore here, I'll send the following message to ChatGPT. I'm asking it how this article could be improved, but then here in this case, I'm actually also giving ChatGPT an example which I identified where this article could be improved. This multi-head attention explanation here in my case. So I'm doing some one-shot prompting here in the end, you could say, where I'm including an example into my prompt that hopefully helps ChatGPT generate similar responses, or in this case, identify similar improvement areas. I'm repeating the constraint or the context that the target audience has no expert knowledge on the topic, and I then kind of repeat my goal here, just phrasing it differently, not as a question now, but instead like this here. And I'm telling ChatGPT that it should identify and list any additional improvement areas. And with that, it should go ahead, take a look at the existing article, and hopefully identify some ways of improving this article. It should come up with some ideas on how this article could be improved. Now this process here takes a bit longer, in general because speed can vary, but of course also because we're now sending a lot of context to ChatGPT. Keep in mind that it always processes the entire chat history, and of course this history already is becoming quite long here. It contains a lot of tokens. Therefore we might also kind of go beyond that context limit ChatGPT has, and it might start forgetting some parts of the conversation, some earlier parts in the future. That's why repeating things like the target audience description here can also be a good idea. But ultimately, it got started, and it started generating some ideas, or it started identifying some parts that could be improved. And here in my case, it gives me this final list of improvement areas. I have to say that I'm quite happy with them, and therefore I'm sending this follow-up message to ChatGPT where I tell it to implement those improvements even if the blog post therefore gets longer than 1000 words. Previously, I wanted it between 700 and 1000 words, but now that I see how much complexity goes into the topic, I don't want to kind of make it too trivial and leave out important details, and therefore I'm basically getting rid of my restriction here, and I'm telling ChatGPT to instead implement those improvements, even if that makes the blog post longer. Now it ran out of space again because of course this article is getting super long now, so time to continue. And after a while, it of course finished, and I now have this improved version, though I can already tell that one area of improvement it identified was to add more visuals, and I'm totally on board with that, but I don't see any visuals here. Now of course, ChatGPT, at least at the point of time we're recording this here, can't generate images or include images here, but it could of course describe images and therefore give us some ideas of where in this article which kind of image should be added. And even though it identified this as one possible way of improving the article, it kind of forgot about that, even though I told it to implement all those improvements. That being said, it did improve other parts. For example, it added better explanations for these complex concepts, so I like that.